we're gonna go back to like our misinformation stream, and everyone's like, big pharma, they want you to feel bad, so you'll pay money, and it's like, okay, but therapists are literally there to treat you. So what tactics are they using to like, or even like a life coach, like this sort of like small incremental steps to like make you just generally be more happy.
Yeah. So Lovey-Dovey said, does the concept of luck exist in most cultures? And I would say the ones we're aware of, yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think many cultures have like lucky numbers associated with them. Obviously, hilariously, last Friday was Friday the 13th, and now we have St. Patrick's Day. That's like a very interesting
I didn't even clock
juxtaposition.
that.
I didn't clock it until I was like I was at work and we were talking about it. I was like, oh shit. But yeah.
Yeah, so Chinese culture and a couple of other East Asian cultures have a lot of number-based luck beliefs.
Yes.
Some of which actually are, I don't want to say data backed. Some of them, the data reflect what could be confirmatory correlations for that. So the way you say the word four, like the number four, in I believe it's Cantonese, Mandarin, and other kind of closely related languages, sounds very close to the word for death, like the way that it's pronounced is very similar. So they've associated the number four with death, which is why the number 8 is lucky, because it kind of negates that. It's like two fours
it like doubles.
Yeah, they'll cancel each other out or something like that. But there's some spurious, I will say, but there is existing data that support that there are, like, on a graph of the days of the month, if you aggregate that on the 4th, that there's significantly more emergency room visits or something to that
Oh,
effect.
interesting.
I don't have my notes, so I can't tell you the exact thing, but spurious research. And even if it is true, like, let's say it's true, like, that's pretty inarguable data. Something like car accidents reported that day to the police, or emergency room visits, that's, you can't say that that's not true unless you don't believe that they're reporting accurately. But you could imagine a world in which, if you're having a bad day and you wake up and you realize, oh no, it's also the 4th, and that's deeply ingrained in your cultural belief system, that's an unlucky thing, that you might be driving like shaking like a leaf, or you might be distracted thinking about, ruminating, that sort of thing,
Or
and
you
that might actually
you just
be
like
the cause.
wake up on the wrong side of the bed kind of energy, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that it's hard. It becomes very chicken egg to be like, oh, this thing is lucky because every time I wear it, I win my game. So I always wear my lucky socks. But aren't you always wearing them when you lose too? Like, it's a confirmatory
Yes.
bias where you
Yeah.
select things that support what you believe and discount the things that don't
Yeah.
align.
Sorry, before I have another point about sort of like the lucky sock thing, but I just wanted to bring up the whole like Mandarin or Cantonese pronunciation thing. Did you see all of like the Draco Malfoy Happy New Year content that was like coming up past like when the new Lunar New Year was happening? Okay.
No.
I gotta show you. So
Draco Malfoy of Harry Potter?
Yes. So apparently
Played by Tom Felton?
Yes. So apparently apparently the way that you say Draco Malfoy in, I want to say it is Mandarin, it essentially is like considered a lucky icon for the year of the horse due to like a transliteration. Oh, I need to share my screen with you as well. Give me 2 seconds here.
Please do.
Yeah.
I'm
There we go.
invested in this already.
There you go.
I have to look at my.
Yeah. so like a bunch of Lunar New Year parties in China just had Draco Malfoy plastered all over them because it was it has I forget exactly. It's like they use the word transliteration. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So because the phonetic way that you would say Malfoy in Mandarin sounds similar to the way that you would say horse and fortune. I love that.
Isn't that so funny and so interesting? Anyways, that's just like another hilarious like luck and good fortune thing. But
And I mean,
uh
I kind of like that for a cultural moment to kind of bandwagon something that has whimsy, you know? Like,
yes.
and I'm sure it's maybe
Yes.
not whimsical to them, and maybe that's a little bit condescending and shitty of me to say, but I like that that is the type of thing that gets kind of like brought into the milieu of
Yeah, yeah,
day-to-day
yeah, yeah.
kind of existence
I mean,
rather than
it went viral on social media because the rest of the world was like, this is whimsical and hilarious and we love this.
yes.
So absolutely. But sorry,
Yeah.
going back to like the dirty socks thing. That was I
Yeah.
was so surprised to see how much research is done on like superstitions like around
Yeah.
sports. Like how and that is a large body of research is how athletes
Mhm.
like interact with superstitions and their performance and that kind of stuff and how like it affects their performance.
Yeah. Well, because like lots of people will do little like rituals, like they'll shuffle
Yes.
their feet and then like brush one shoulder. There was like a famous baseball player, I believe, that had like some sort of like thing that he did and had to. He had like
Hmm.
tapped the bat or something like that. And it's not that those things aren't associated with the performance. I think it's part of a locking in sort of like mental kind of preparation that you're doing, kind of like studying for a test
Yeah.
in a way, right? You're kind of getting yourself primed is the, you know, phrase that we would use in lots of our psychology, which for those that are outside of the discipline, you can essentially it's almost subliminal messaging in a way. You can use images and text and context or discussion and
Hmm.
prime someone to be more apt to act a certain way or respond in a certain way to a question, and kind of like lead them in a certain direction, which
Yeah.
is very interesting when you talk about criminal psychology, leading the witness, but that's a whole
Yeah. 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 And yeah, it's adding like a previous context essentially, like sort of change with
yeah
something that he perceives something.
yeah
Um. Yeah, I was gonna say something else, and now I'm
sorry.
blanking. No, 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 you're good.
You were talking about socks, athlete
Oh,
socks and stuff.
yes, yeah. I definitely think that they're like I don't know if I've seen this in like pop culture or but like people not showering for like an entire season like sports season, which seems truly disgusting for like professional athletes, you know what I mean? But
Yep.
I do think that that is like a thing that I have heard of before as well, which is so crazy.
Yeah, I don't know where that would come from. Like you don't want to wash off the luck? Is that
Yes.
is that the
Yeah,
rationale is you don't want to
I think
wash
so.
off the luck?
Like if you're on a winning streak maybe, yeah.
Okay. I mean, sure. Why not?
IDK. I don't know, man.
I've never been much of a sporty gal, so I wouldn't know. But if
Yeah.
anyone is an athlete and is in chat and wants to share any of their you know, personal stuff, when you were in T-ball, you used to go in and like watch Sesame Street right before. Carb loading is a
These
superstition? Is a hot take
That's a
that gotta grab.
super hot take. You should I need more elaboration on that honestly. But no, I feel
Yeah.
like so some of the stuff that I like saw was so it's like self-fulfilling prophecy, so it's like yeah, again, you think something's going to happen, therefore it happens. Pattern
Yeah.
recognition bias, which we already talked about. Um and performance confidence, which plays obviously into self-fulfilling prophecy, and then anxiety reduction, which I think that was really interesting and came up a
Absolutely.
lot, right? Because
Mhm.
especially if there's a lot of uncertainty or you have like less control over a situation, wanting to believe that you have like I don't know your good luck charm with you is going to have like a positive effect on
Mm.
your performance in an interview or whatever. Some of the examples we provided, what concept based moral following whatever.
Well, so I think with what Adibi is saying here, the concept being based more around whatever pattern led to the desired result is the false heuristic, to use the nomenclature
Mm-hmm.
that we were saying earlier, that thinks that anything that's antecedent or before something must have led to the thing that follows it, which just simply can't be true for everything other than, you know, your own self-governance, I suppose. But that is the thing, is to believe that, oh, this slot machine paid out because I took a sip right before, cleared my throat, and then I actually spun the thing. I know you don't do it with a lever anymore, but I pressed the button with my left hand instead of my right hand, when really that just so happens to be what you did before. And there are studies using pigeons, actually, where they develop what's called superstitious behavior. So they put
Shut the fuck
pigeons.
up. What? Okay,
Yeah.
I have to know
So
about this.
it's a really old study. There's lots of holes in it, but
Yeah.
it's a pretty famous study. So you put pigeons in an operant chamber, and they can go and peck a little hole. If they want, there's 2 holes.
Hi,
Hoon does
Hooney.
not like us talking
Not
about pigeons.
not
She said,
happy.
not happening today. Um, so they put them in a place with a whole bunch of things that we would call manipulanda. So things that they can manipulate. It could be a lever. It could be, in this case, it's a nose poke hole, so they can peck their little beak. And there's a little slot for them to receive like a seed or some sort of food reward in any event. And what happens is the pigeons will go, I think everything just froze. Is it frozen for you? You're frozen. Oh no.
You're fine for me. Everything, you are
Okay,
fine.
well then we'll just carry on. I'm just going to pretend like there's no tech issues whatsoever. So, in this particular study, though there are things they can do, none of that has any bearing whatsoever on whether or not they'll actually get the reward. The reward is just given on a random schedule, regardless of what they're doing. But what they noticed is the pigeons would develop their own kind of idiosyncratic little routines that they thought led to this, because that just so happened to be what was happening when the seed was getting delivered. So if they went and pecked it, and that just so happens to coincidentally have preceded them getting the delivery of the thing, they'll be like, and the reward was more than they expected. So that's what the reward prediction error people would say is happening, is the dopamine spiked, because it's saying, whoa, we just pecked a thing, we thought maybe there was food in there, but there's food over here, that's great. Woo! And like your brain would learn for that. So, but they would learn different patterns, and it would be idiosyncratic to each of the pigeons. And some of that's been replicated to some degree in rodent research, but it's of course a lot more nuanced than that. But they call it superstitious behavior.
That is really fucking funny, honestly. But I feel like it reminds, like, going back a few streams, it reminds me of sort of like this like anecdotal evidence that we were like talking about with, which like leads to misinformation, where it's like, this thing happened to me, and it's like it has actually nothing to do with like the patterns, the life patterns at play, but it just actually happens. So
that's why scientists need to do science, because we know how to be like correlation, not causation. There's like the famous I think there's a whole website that's just spuriouscorrelations.com or something like that. And the most famous one that I ever heard about was like in the early parts of my training. It used to be that there was a perfect 1-to-1 correlation between like the number of drowning deaths in pools in like somewhere Wisconsin, and whether or not a Nicolas Cage movie had been released that summer.
I'm literally typing Nicolas Cage. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to screen share with you, but I'm literally typing Nicolas Cage in, because this is the one that I know as well. Okay.
Oh, you do?
Sorry.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
Yes.
Okay.
This.
Amazing.
So okay, for
frozen on my stream. You just came back. Oh, okay, good.
So this one is showing number of movies Nicolas Cage has appeared in and the number of transportation security screeners in North Dakota, which is such a random like. Okay.
Well, wait, the one on the third right is the drowning. People of drowning that fall into a pool by Nicolas Cage correlates with the number.
Oh yes.
Nicolas Cage. Clearly, Mr. Cage is up to something suspicious.
Yes, clearly. Must be, obviously.
I mean, realistically, if you didn't know any better, you could very much concoct well, he's into the occult. He likes, ravens and has a pet bat. So maybe he's cursing the children, or, you can get there pretty easily if you didn't know.
Yeah, well, he's responsible for the drownings as well as the increase in cheese consumption. So it's all related. It's all related. Aliens.
Well, Aliens. Aliens. Or lizard people or the Illuminati. All up for grabs. What a DB says, for instance, when I played baseball, I tap home plate on both sides first, and it would help me get into muscle memory instead of hyperfixating. Absolutely.